Hi everyone, today I'm going to introduce the Passion Planner. Right here I have the 2022 dated weekly layout. This is one of my favorite planners because it has a lot of structure. So if you're new to planning, this is actually a great planner to get started with because it has everything laid out for you. It gives you all the time blocks. It gives you a goal planning section if you like using your planner for certain goals you want to do in life. And it has a really great community. It has a lot of support and worksheets. It has a whole system built in, so it's easy to get started if this is one of your first planners or you're new to planning. I personally love using it. Whenever I use it, it feels like home, just writing things down. It really helps you get through a lot of your thoughts. So you flip to the beginning, you have instructions on how to use it, how it's set up, some background. It's actually a really cool company that started on Kickstarter a few years ago. It's been about 8 years now, so it's a little bit of a combination of, they call it a paper life coach, which is kind of interesting. So it prompts you to work on certain things if you want that aspect of a planner. 4 steps: dream big, break it down, work at it, and reflect. So this is the goal planning portion of it. This is the passion roadmap. One of people's favorite parts of the passion planner is the passion roadmap because you can actually get into the nitty-gritty of what you want and dream of in your life. So you set a timer and then you write down everything that you could possibly want, anything, do anything, be anything. You write it all down and then you pick one of them that would make the most impact to your life and you write it here. People have used the game changer as in graduate from school, write a book, become a really healthy person, draw every day, or mental health goals. And then you break down those steps into little webs, and then you break down those webs into more micro steps. So it really breaks down a dream into a habit that you might be able to input into your daily sections of these planners. So I definitely want to do a passion roadmap plan with me in the future, so stay tuned if you're interested in that. We have an overview, an annual overview, and then they also include a ribbon here, which you can use to mark down any section that you're at. So let's say you just flip through, you're at a certain page of the month. I personally chose April because that's my favorite month since I was born in that month. And this monthly layout, you can really put anything in it. I've used it before as a gratitude section, a doodle section. Every day you can doodle something just to get those creative juices going. And you have this month's focus, people to see, which I love because it gives you something to look forward to. You can see certain friends or people who you're close to. You have places to go. Even though we don't have as many places we could go anymore, it's still nice to write down maybe a new cafe you wanted to try or just something that you're looking forward to, even if it's pretty local. And then things to learn. Doesn't have to be something crazy. You don't have to learn a whole new language, or it can just something be even gentler, like learn to be compassionate with yourself or learn to make time for some gentle movement in the day. Yeah, so really anything you could write there, or like maybe a new recipe that you wanted to learn, you could write that down too. And then personal projects and work projects. You could bring one of your game changer goals into here and then break those down into 4 steps. But I like to use this as like a running monthly to-do list. For example, let's say I have to set up a dental appointment, but I'm not sure what week I have to set it up in. I just have to call them, but I don't have the perfect placement for it. Then I'll just write it here, like call to set up an appointment, or something that's more general that I don't have a time pressure by the week on. I'll just put it here. Just got to get it done sometime this month. So you can put those there. And then when you flip, you get into the weekly section. So as you can tell, the weekly section is fairly bold. Let me remove this so you can see it better. The weekly section is pretty bold. It has the dates up here, and I did choose a Monday start because my work week begins on a Monday, and my weekends I usually like together, especially if I have something that spans 2 days. I can just write straight across 2 days. This week's focus, so let's say this week I want to focus on finishing a book. I would write that there. Or this week I want to focus on meeting someone for dinner. Then that's something that I planned that would be a highlight, would be there. And then you can also break down today's focus. So sometimes today's focus, you would bring some of your game changer goal habits into there. So let's say one of my game changer goals was become a healthy person, and that would break it down into physical health, mental health. So if it's physical health, maybe I could do like a water tracker here, just do little checks from when I finish water, or I could do a right mat exercise or movement here. So anything really that you're trying to focus on, or you don't want to forget. So let's say I have a vet appointment or a bill due. You can also write that there, so you just don't forget, so it doesn't get lost in this section where there's a lot of lines and timelines and so forth. And then something I really love about the Passion Planner is that you have this awesome quote. Every section has a quote. Every week, if you wish to move mountains tomorrow, you must start by lifting stones today. African proverb. Stay on course with your biggest goal this week and break it down to steps, assign timeframes, and writing them into your weekly schedule. Simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. List down all your commitments and simplify. Like, it always ties a challenge to the goal, which is kind of nice. So if you like quotes, which I love, this is an amazing part of the Passion Planner that just kind of sparks some interest, some food for thought, and whether or not you do the challenge, you know, it's just nice to have. And then we have lots of room for to-do lists. So it's 14 on each side. So altogether you have 28, which is pretty robust for a weekly planner. 28 spots for to-dos. If that's not enough, you can always supplement it with a to-do list in a separate daily planner or just a notebook or piece of paper. But I do think you can also write it down here. So let's say you don't wake up at 6 a.m. You can just write down some of your top to-dos of that day there up until when you wake up, 8 o'clock. So that would fit a few in there, or you can just fit them in there. So if you say go to grocery store, you can just write down the time you're going to the grocery store and just write it. I'm going to go to the grocery store at 7 p.m. You just block it off there instead of writing it on a to-do list section. And then here is a blank space. Lots of people just use this as a place to take notes. If you're using this as a work planner, you can take your notes here, or you can draw, doodle, calligraphy, just maybe write down another quote that you like, or what book you're reading, some reflections from the book, really anything you want. That's a good space for it. So there's also good things that happened. I personally like to see it on a monthly format, but some people like to do a good things that happen every week. Just so as it happens, something good happened, you just jot it down there. And it's nice to reflect back over the course of a week and a month and even a year later. So then we have all these weekly spreads. Okay. And we get into the monthly spread. So after every month, after all those weeks, there's a monthly reflection section where there's prompts about what's the most memorable part of the month, biggest lessons, what or who you're most grateful for. This is really a nice time for you to pause and think about what you really want to take forward in the next month. Sometimes we have a tendency to only do major reflection at the end of a year, right around New Year's Eve, thinking about what to do. But the monthly reflection, I think, helps us become a little bit more intentional, really draws some of those journaling juices going. So if you haven't really done a lot of journaling, you're new to planning and you want to get into it, this is a good habit to try. If you don't like any of these questions, you can also come up with your own questions. You can also put a washi over it and just write your reflection of the month. I think that's pretty helpful. So this is a great tool if you want to use it. And end of month checklist, highlight your accomplishments. reform if you wanted to change any part of your goals. Sometimes people change goals entirely, and that's fine, and set checkpoints. And then we move on to another month. So that's really how the Passion Planner is broken down into. And they have they also write the holidays there. So you have Eid, Mother's Day, Ramadan ends, and then this is basically the same format for the rest of the year. They also have a end of year reflection. What advice would you give yourself at the beginning of the year? 3 biggest lessons, and how would you incorporate these lessons? Review your planner for the past year. See how you spent your time. What steps would you adjust? How are you different between this year and the last year? What or who are you most especially grateful for? And name 3 things you could improve upon for next year. So that's their end of year reflection, which is really nice. I also did a little swatch and ink test for everyone. I did the Papermate Ink Joy in 0.7, Pilot G2 in 0.5, the Muji 3.38, the Mild Liner, Tombow Dual Brush, Blend Ballpoint, Acrylograph. This is like a acrylic paint in a pen type of tool from Archer and Olive, and Jelly Roll Pen. So let's see if there's any ghosting. I think there is a little bit of ghosting from the Jelly Roll Pen, and maybe some texture from the acrylograph pen, but everything else looks pretty good. I would say I wouldn't use this for watercolor because the pages can get a little bit wrinkly. It doesn't quite absorb it the same way other papers might. So if you're just a gel pen user, you're using mild liner highlighters, using some Tombow brush pens, I don't think there'll be any issue. The paper itself is actually a little bit of an off-white. It almost has a gray tint to it. And these are the back pages. And you also have dotted back pages too. So people do trackers, book trackers, everything here. Yeah, the paper is a little bit of a gray tint. So there's lots of printouts online that you can also print, and worksheets that you can put in. So it's a little bit like a system. It's great for students. It's great for people with who need a little more prompting to use a planner. And if you just keep it open by your desk, if you have a desk at home or where you can see it, and just keep it open to that week, I think you'll find it pretty helpful, because you keep it open. As appointments come, you can jot them down, and it'll just prompt you to start to think about it, use it. So it's not just all juggling in your head, right? 'Cause that takes up mental space that you could use for something else more relaxing. So that is the weekly version. And how does that compare to the daily? So the daily I have right here. This is a brand new daily. This is actually the B5 size, which is medium. So as you can tell, it's the same size. It does have daily here. The 2022 is embossed. So the daily now comes in the medium size, which is awesome because you have so much more room to write. So let's see. You do have some goal setting pages in the beginning, I believe. They teach you how to use it, which is really nice. You can really do another mind map here, do your workout plan, meal plan, meditation thoughts, and you can also write down your schedule. Really make it as messy as you want to. Like, no one is going to see this. This is for you. It's okay if you make a mistake. I feel like it really helps to just make a mistake in your planner immediately, so that will prompt you to use it. Sometimes I have the habit of like, oh my gosh, this planner or this notebook is too beautiful, or this sticker is too nice. I don't want to use it. I'm just going to save it for who knows when. But when you just mess it up, then you're free to move forward. So they have another Passion Roadmap template here, which is nice. And they really break it down for you on how to make a goal. If you've never really done structured goal planning, this would be really helpful. For those who've been doing it for a while, you can kind of just know the steps on how to break down a goal, what to do, things like that. But if you've never done it, you would have to define one goal that would have the most positive impact. You brainstorm. So like how many tasks or habits do you need to make this goal happen? Like if yours is write a book, then you have to think about, oh, I have to open my word processor every day. And then I have to type at least 100 words, something like that. So then you would really break down all the tasks. If it's like, oh, I want to drink more water, stay more hydrated, then you would really have to break down, like, what does that mean? Okay, I have to buy a water bottle. I have to be able to see the water bottle every day. So you have to like make sure you find a good place to put the water bottle. Then you have to make sure you like the flavor of what you're drinking. So like if you want to buy fruits, and then you have to write like, oh, buy fruits. So you're writing down as many tasks as possible into this mind map, and then you have to make it measurable. So like, when are you going to do it? Sometimes I don't really like making it measurable because I feel like it's too concrete, but maybe that's the point. Sometimes we can also just be gentler with ourselves. Who knows? Prioritize, incorporate, and then you have to add the task into your pages. You commit to make your game changer goal a reality. I think that's an interesting one because you're really making your goal or dream a priority, because this is stuff that you want to work on. So only write down stuff that you really, really want, not what people tell you should want or feel pressured by. So I think if you do want to commit, it makes sense because this is something you want to do. And then why you want to do it. And then you have to visualize what it looks like if you completed your goal. I feel like this is really important because if you visualize, you have a higher success of actually making it happen. And then it's a keystone habit. So I will blank every day for blank minutes at blank. Ask for support, resource, and celebrate. So this is a really great way that they've done breaking down goal planning. So if you're new to goal planning, this is really what you need. Like what kind of person or life you want to live, and then really breaking it down into small steps and having that support system and habits to build it up. So this is a great worksheet. They also have an annual tracker here. I'm not quite sure what I would use this for. Some people use it as a mood tracker, birthdays, or some people do this as a book tracker. Like, oh yeah, I've read this book for this many pages for this many days. Lots of options here, but it's not dated to the year, so you can really start this at any time. And then we have some undated monthly layouts, which is really cool. So you can make your own calendar here. It has the same layout as the weeklies, if you remember. It's more or less the same. It's not as dark, so it's easier to write on, but it's more or less the same layout. Personal projects, work projects. You have the 4 boxes to the left. And then, yeah. So you can make that however you want. And then you have check-ins. So every month after you would use it, you would check in and see what's on your mind, memorable moments, accomplishments, and lessons. And then you would have the same thing for the game changer goal. And then you go into the same sections again with the month and reflection. And you might be wondering why is everything together? Why is it not month and then 30 days of daily pages in between and then another month reflection? And I think it's tricky to do that because let's say you don't use your daily every day, which very reasonable because I rarely use a daily every day, especially if it's undated. I only need to use this when I have a lot going on, there's a project, or something that might just need more space. So let's say I only use it like twice a week, but then if I had all 30 pages and then the next month, then the months aren't lined up. So that's why they keep it all in the front, just in case you don't need all 30 pages in between and then you're kind of stuck in a limbo. So hopefully that gives you some insight of why undated planners are usually that way. That's the same for annual undated planners. So let's say if it's annual, all the months are in the front, then it's all the weeks in the back, and you kind of have to flip back and forth. So that's how those are different. But as you can tell, is a lot more space for to-do lists. So this is an everyday to-do list that you have essentially 13 to-do list items. And then you can also use this for a to-do list, like one of your major to-dos. You write the date here, and you can also do a time block or schedule block of your schedule here. You can do a little doodle, or you can write down a quote, or just use this for coloring, calligraphy. You can really do anything here. Or if there's not enough to-dos, you can actually just keep going. Like I've seen people just mark down some boxes and just keep on going here. Something that makes this daily planner a little different is that it is fairly structured in that it tells you, hey, remember self-maintenance. Don't just get stuck in all this to-dos and you forget simple things like eating a healthy meal or doing a gentle workout. Best thing that happened, today I learned, today in one word, and mood. So if you've ever done mood tracking, you can do a mood here. And it is kind of interesting to track moods over a course of time. I don't always use these at the end because I sometimes just want to really purge my thoughts and not really get into too much of this. So I might just put a washi here sometimes. I don't really always need to capture today in a word or my mood, but it's nice to have if you need it. And then here, this is where it's really nice. It's kind of like a bullet journal and a planner in one. So let's say you want to just do a bullet journal design, or you want to, just write down a lot of thoughts. This is the perfect place to do it. Or you want to take notes at work. This is a good work planner because you can take your notes at work, transfer any tasks that you need into here, like dissect them, and then it makes a much easier flow. So this is a great place to just get messy, be creative, use your stickers, do whatever you want, because there's so much space. And if you don't like it or it gets really ugly, all you have to do is flip the page and it's a new day. You can pretend the other ones didn't happen. So I really like dailies because it's nice to look at a brand new page every day or when you need it. Sometimes when you get too cluttered, you just feel like kind of overwhelmed. If it's a brand new page, just bring your new to-do list in. You can rewrite them if you didn't get to it from the other day, and then you're good to go. So that is the Passion Planner Daily and the Passion Planner Weekly. So the daily, you have about 30 pages per month, and it has 3 months. So it's about 93, spreads, I believe they said, which is really nice. So you can use this over the course of a season, see how you feel before launching into another one. And then you can also use them together if you want. I don't use the daily all the time. I use it occasionally when I have a lot going on. I'm a big weekly person, and I sometimes just put my to-do list here. But there are days when you just have too much and you need that extra space. So that is the weekly and the daily. I hope that comparison definitely helps. And I do want to show you some different sizes. So these are the mediums, as I said. Those are called B5. And then this is a Passion Planner small size, which is from previous years. So they don't sell this design exactly anymore. But this is a small size, so you can tell it's pretty substantially small, much smaller. It's very portable. I actually really like the small size for the Passion Planner Daily. And then I also have the large size for the weekly. So the weekly, I really like the large size because you can put a lot of things in there. And this is the large size. This is so big. Let me do horizontal. Yeah. This would be like a printer paper, like from your printer, the A4 size. So you can tell the different sizes there, and people love it all for different reasons. The large one you would normally just keep at your desk. And of course, the smaller ones, you can take it to go. And I feel like medium's always good in between. You can take it to go, put it on your desk. I personally write too big to do a weekly in the small size because the spread is so structured. The lines are pretty thin, but for daily, it's perfect. And yeah, that is my introduction to Passion Planner. Thank you so much for watching and tuning in. I hope you enjoyed it and learned a little bit about the differences of the Passion Planner and why it's a good combo for goal planning and also just weekly planning. So thanks everyone.